This is Matchday Live with NordVPN. Heartbreaking midweek in the Premier League, but attention's turned to the FA Cup today for Daniel Farke's side as they head to Pride Park. All the build-up to come with Simon Grayson and Matt Killgallon here in the studio ahead of full match commentary. It's Derby County versus Leeds United. It's live on LUTV. Yeah, thanks for joining us here live today ahead of this midday kickoff, an early one after the late one at St James's Park the other day. Simon, Killer, great to have you both in the studio. First and foremost, are we recovered from the other night? Because it was a dramatic one, wasn't it?
Well, it certainly was, wasn't it? It had everything, that game, didn't it? Sort of some fantastic play, and that's a big thing that Daniel and the team and the supporters will have woke up the following morning and gone, wow, we played so well last night and how we didn't get a point out of it. And when you get the praise from the opposition, staff, supporters, it tells you something about the game. So it's part of the history books, unfortunately. You move on and you try and get back on the horse again and start winning matches again. Yeah,
Killer, I mean, I'm sure you were the same. Leeds United fans everywhere. The WhatsApp messages going crazy on Wednesday night. It was just a mad game of football. Unfortunately, we were on the wrong end of the result.
Yeah, but just, you know, Leeds United go in there and putting a proper performance in and looking like they deserve to be there and looking like a really hard team to beat. Goals, excitement, challenges, proper, like you say, classic. It's just unfortunate that, you know, sometimes they go on in 10 years' time for Premier League classics and you lose. That's the only thing. But yeah, great game, fantastic.
Yeah, if you're watching Premier League classics in 10 years to come, just stop around the 89th minute. Turn it off then. Right, you can see the players arriving. It is a changed team as we expected in this FA Cup third round tie, but there will be plenty of players who are looking forward to getting some minutes under their belts that maybe haven't had as many. Ethan Ampadu, interestingly, does start in the team. Let's run through that team very briefly. It's Carl Darlow, and then we think it's going to be three at the back of Bornau, Ampadu and Biol, with a midfield four of Tanaka and Gruev in the middle, and then out wide, Jack Harrison into the team, Willie Nonto into the team as well, and then a front three, which we think will be Joel Peru just behind Nemecha and Okafor. That's what we think. It could end up being a different formation. We were looking at it before, Sam, so maybe it could be a 4-2-3-1, but we think it's going to be that kind of 3-4-3. But I think one of the things it does show is that Daniel Farke has a certain amount of flexibility within that squad that he can change things up if he wants to.
Well, yeah, he certainly does. Look, as I said, there's 11 players out there who can fit into two different formations. I think when you look at the overview picture of it all, it's a real attacking minded team. If you are playing three at the back and your wing backs are Harrison and Nonto, it's two attacking players there without a shadow of doubt. They'll do the defensive unit, and then obviously Okafor and Nemecha and Piru is an exciting front five. If it is a four, you've still got the two full-backs who'll stay at home a little bit more, probably Bornau and Harrison. But yeah, I think it's a real strong team. I think the respect of the competition has got what it deserves from the group of players that have been picked today. And what they've got to do is they've got to go and represent the club and show Daniel Farke that they want to be in consideration for starting against Fulham next time we play back here at Elland Road next weekend.
Yeah, Kill, if you're a player that hasn't had as many minutes as maybe you want, and you've been doing that thing of asking the manager, come on, give me some minutes, this is an opportunity, but also demonstrates, you look at that team, it's a really strong 11 going out there.
It's an opportunity if you're out there and you've been knocking on the gaffer's door, you know, why am I not playing? You're in now and you have to go show it. I like the team, it's strong, but the squad's strong now. No one really weakens that team anymore, and that's what's great about how it's looking for Leeds United. But, you know, Ampadu in there, I'm happy with that. I think he sets standards, doesn't he? FA Cup game, you know, keep everyone concentrating. They've had a lot of big Premier League games, haven't they? Sometimes, you know, we should beat Derby County, but sometimes your head's got to be right to go do it. And I think with players like that in there, they'll be in the changing room going, listen lads, let's not let ourselves down. Let's go and do a proper job on these.
I think the big reminder for these players coming into the team is probably what Sean Dyche said about his team, that he made changes on Friday night. He gave a few a chance, and he let them know that he wasn't happy with them players and brought all the big hitters on to get them out of some trouble. And so an example to the Leeds players that have come in: do your job and you've got a chance. Don't do your job, you've got no chance.
Yeah, Killgallon starts in goal. Can see him snood and ready to go. He gets an opportunity. He's played lots of games for Leeds United now, and will get to stand between the sticks today and make his claim for a place.
Well, that's it. It's the same again. You know, for me, Perry, I think Daniel Farke's talked about. I think everyone has that. Maybe he should have saved the last goal. He looks like a lad who trains well, so I've heard, and he's a good professional. So this is a chance for him to put performance in, and then he's got a decision to make against Fulham.
Coming into this game, Sam, obviously on the back of that defeat, but before that, the 7 unbeaten. It was so close to making that 8. We could have won that game before they scored. We nearly scored. Now Okafor plays it across the boxes. There's no one there to tap it in. The players will still feel that sense of momentum, you think, that they're on a good run here, despite the fact that there's been a defeat in midweek?
Oh, look, it's a little bump in the road. That's how you'd look to try to describe it. That use the positives and use the disappointment as a motivation to get back to winning ways quickly, and learn from that experience of maybe learning how you see games out a little bit better. That full credit to the team that were trying to win it at the end there. Like we mentioned, Okafor crossing the ball and nobody could quite get on the end of it. You maybe stay at home a little bit and protect. It's easy to say that after the horses bolted as such, but look, the players will be confident, looking forward to it, because it's a long time since this club's had an FA Cup run, and an opportunity to do. We saw yesterday Macclesfield knock Crystal Palace, the holders, out. There's history between Derby County and Leeds United, as we know from the past. We don't want to be somebody that's losing to opposition from lower divisions, even though Derby are a championship team.
Yeah, and who better to be in the studio than the all hail Mr. FA Cup third round. We just have to give a moment to that. Don't be
as if it was primed up that I said that.
Mate, don't be humble about it. There's no fake humility here in the studio. Forget about it. Listen, we covered that enough when we played Man U at home, so you can forget about it now. Right, let's get the thoughts of our commentary team today, who are ready at Pride Park to bring you all the action in this FA Cup third round. Bryn Law today, joined by former Leeds United player Andy Cousins.
Well, it's cold and wet here at Pride Park, but we are looking forward to a bit of FA Cup action as Leeds begin the journey that we hope, and you never know, might end at Wembley. Let's talk teams first. Bit of squad rotation for LUTV today. Andy Cousins is in for the injured Tony Dorigo. He's resting.
He's resting in the sun.
Yeah. So, Andy, the team, we expected changes. There are changes. All the names are familiar. What about the formation?
It's a good question. I think we'll still stick with the 3 at the back. I think we might play, Nonto might play down the right hand side as a wing back. He might play Harrison down the left hand side as the other wing back. Might bring Ampadu back into the back 4 as such, or the back 3. But he could also go as a back 4 as well. So it's going to be interesting to see. But the front 4 we've got some pace, we've got some quality up there as well. So look, it's a good time is this to get the players who are not playing week in, week out. We've had a tough game up at Newcastle midweek. FA Cup today. 5,500 Leeds fans down here as well. So it's going to be a great atmosphere, but it's a great opportunity for them to push for that first team. Yeah, there's names in that lineup. They're all familiar names, as we already said, but there are names there who are in with a chance of staking a claim because they've not been in enough so far this season. I'm thinking Joe Peru will surely be desperate to do well today, won't he? Absolutely, I think they'll all will be. They want to show the manager they can play. They want to show, if there is any outgoings, look, they're playing for futures, they're playing for their own future, they're playing to the future of Leeds United, but if they see their life away from here, then they're playing for that as well. So look, they've got a lot to prove to a lot of people out there, and more to the point, they've just got to prove it themselves. There are those who put out weakened teams in this FA Cup competition these days, which the older guys like you and I always find it a little bit difficult because we remember what the FA Cup represented to us growing up. You would hope to see that reflected in Leeds' performance today, wouldn't you? Absolutely. I think the FA Cup is it's an iconic cup, isn't it? We saw what happened yesterday, with Crystal Palace, for instance. And I think, from a Leeds point of view, it's great to have a good run. It breeds confidence, but also from what you're just saying there, Bryn, the players who are on the fringe can actually get game time, because we want them players to, if we get any injuries, they need to come into the first team and they need to be at Premier League level straight away. So these games, it's good for them to get that fitness back up. It's good to get game under the belt and get that confidence in them to come on if they're coming on a sub in a Premier League game where they can maybe put the ball in the back of the net, like Pirro last week. He only just come on against Manchester United and he had that chance which could have gone in the top corner. That might have gone in if he'd been playing a few more games. A bit more confidence. But these are the games which you're going to breed that.
Final word, it's been a sad week for the football club with the news that Terry Orth has passed away. You knew Terry from all the work that he was doing recently at Elland Road. I've known Terry as a Wales manager, as a player, as somebody I talked to at Huddersfield, Bradford and Leeds United as well. We've lost a big character there, haven't we? Absolutely.
It was a really sad day when we all got the text message through on our little WhatsApp group which we've got. I've worked with Terry for a lot of years. He was a huge character around the place. What a man. He'd do anything for anybody. He'd come in and light the room up. When he was on the microphone, you never knew what he was going to say. But he knew exactly how football was supposed to be played, and he was very, very passionate about this football club, and it's a real sad loss. Terry's he's done so much for the game, as you say, in Yorkshire, the teams which he's been representing, and obviously, your home country there of Wales, what he did down there was fantastic. But for this football club, back in the 70s, he was a massive, massive part of that, and he's a big, big loss to the football club.
So maybe for the players today, do it for Terry?
Yeah, really sad news this week. Terry Orth dying at the age of 75, 198 appearances for Leeds United, 12 goals under Don Revie, and you can see some of that footage which looks a little bit grainy these days, doesn't it, when you look back on that. But Simon, really, really sad. We lose a league winner from the 73-74 season, a finalist in the Cup Winners' Cup, the FA Cup, and that infamous European Cup final, of course, in 1975. But really, really sad news.
Yeah, look, it was really sad news when it came out the other day. And obviously, all the thoughts go out to the family and everybody connected with the Yoreth. Look, he was a proper football person. I worked with Terry at Sheffield Wednesday when I was on loan there. He was Paul Jules' assistant manager, but obviously did the lounges and worked around there, and seen him over the last few years quite a lot. And he was so passionate about football in general, but obviously played a huge, significant part of Leeds United. And like Bryn said there, it'll be a poignant day today if we can win for Terry, because of what he did for this club, what the foundations that he led, but all the memories that he's created along the way, right the way through generations of football. So a real sad day, and we'll genuinely miss him. Yeah, the players will be wearing black armbands today. And before the Fulham game at the weekend, there will be a tribute paid to Terry Orth before that game at the weekend here at Elland Road. Back to today's game, and like we mentioned, Killer, the players coming off the back of that game against Newcastle. You were there at St James's Park. Happy birthday, by the way, for early in the week. A bit of a birthday treat for you. They just couldn't quite provide the 3 points on top of the cake.
No, I was giving it the big one upstairs in the hospitality, eating the prawn sandwiches, get the prawn sandwiches. We had to watch the goals back on the morning, to be honest. I didn't see many of them. No, I did. Fantastic. What we said, it was just they'd looked like they belonged there, Leeds. A month ago, bottom three, struggling, you're looking around going, and from, December to January, what they've done is absolutely fantastic. Massive games played in, and gone out there, played for Farker, shown what it's all about, shown a load of bottle about themselves, and going out now and looking like a proper team. Derby County will not fancy this today, especially looking at that team now going, hang on a minute, how many strikers are playing? Can you get any more on there? It's a positive team, and I just see a big win for Leeds. I really do.
We love it. We love the confidence. Let's take a look at the Leeds goals. Whilst you were quaffing champagne, Killer, Leeds were scoring some goals in that match as well. There are so many positives to take out of that match, Simon. And one of those is Brendan Aronson. Brendan Aronson's actually on the bench today. He scored the winner at Derby last year, around December time, when we beat them down at their place at Pride Park in the Championship. But he is a player now that he's jumping at the bit, isn't it? He'll be sat on the bench going, I don't care about preserving minutes, I want to be out there.
Yeah, he certainly will. Confidence is a key to him. He's responded really well to a lot of criticism over a period of time. But I think on Wednesday night, the outlook of the team was really good. They worked and pressed in the real good areas. Defenders had a nightmare, to be fair, there. And the rest of the first half, that's why he got dragged at half-time. But we pressed at the right areas, and then we had the clinicalness, and we thought the weight of pass and the options running forward, and then the calmness to be able to finish off. This is a great finish from Brendan, because there's a lot of time where you can hit it straight at the defender or over the bar, but he keeps it low, skids off the floor, and right into the bottom corner. Nick Pope's a big goalkeeper, and to put it in that corner and not give him a chance to save it was just rewards for his, not just his performance on Wednesday leading up to this goal, but the last month or so, because he's been a big catalyst for the results that we've had.
Yeah, big celebrations as well. It's just great to see. Any player that's in form is lovely to see, but especially with Brendan Aronson at the moment. Then, of course, this penalty. I guess when this was given, Killy, you were probably choking on a prawn sandwich when this was given with the excitement.
Well, the starters has just come out, so no. And do you know what? It's a great spot by the referee. Let's give him some credit. It really is. But there, Calvert-Lewin in form. He just looked confident, didn't he? Even waited, celebration. Look at everyone buzzing there. But he's in form. He's made Leeds United play so much better for me. He's a threat. His goals have been fantastic, don't get me wrong, but I think how he's improved the team, how they play, I think he's helped out Justin, Bogle, Goodmanson, knowing that you get into good areas, whip the ball into the box. You don't have to come back out and start again. I'm in here, lads. Whip the ball in and I'll get my head on it.
You know what, when he stepped up for that penalty, there have been times as a Leeds United fan, you see a penalty and you think, oh, is this going to go in? I'm seeing him step up to him and say, he's scoring this. There's absolutely no way he's missing this.
Look, there's no question in Calvert-Lewin's performances and ability. It's just keeping him in fit, and he plays a part in the pressing. Again, we're looking at the goal here. It all stems from the players winning the ball back in key areas, and ended up with Brendan finishing it off. But again, it's how the players was set up in the structure out of possession, because everybody could talk about in possession what you do with it, but sometimes you set traps for the opposition, you try and capitalise on it. You've got 2-3 players that are hunting around on the front foot, and all of a sudden the ball drops to key players. Calvert-Lewin makes a great run away, opens a space up for Aronson, who then had only one thing in his mind: to get on the outside, hit it as early as possible, don't let Pope get set, hits it across him where he should do, right in the bottom corner. And it's a fantastic goal, both in possession and out of possession.
Do you know what we were talking about the other night, weren't we, Simon? I'll put this to you, Killer, as well, is that we kind of expected that Newcastle would come out and they'd put us under pressure and they'd pass it well. Leeds did that to them. And it kind of like makes you, I don't know, smile as a Leeds United fan, that people are watching a game like that thinking, wow, this Leeds team, they play a bit of football, don't they?
Yeah, we're not sat in there to... I think when you turn to a 3, people think, oh, it's a 5. They're going to go 5. Leeds United are struggling. They're going to go... They haven't done that. They've gone to 3. The wing-backs have gone. You know, they've been absolutely fantastic. They're after teams from the go, and I think it just shows the confidence and actually the bottle to do that, especially when you are struggling, because it is easy when you're struggling. Just hang on a minute, I'll just step back a little bit. I don't want to go too tight. But they haven't. They've gone. They've listened to the gaffer, and it's worked for them. This 3-5, 3-4-3, whatever you format works for Leeds United, doesn't it? And it looks like they've been playing it for years.
I think what they've done really well is they've worked on the training pitch of what they need to do. So sometimes they will drop into a back 5 to make it nice and compact and difficult to play against. But there's times where they go man for man, they push wing back onto full backs, centre backs are up against a front 3, 1 versus 1s, and they've been really positive in that respect. So a lot of work and credit goes to the coaching staff. Got to make sure they continue, though.
Well, we're speculating on the setup today. There is one man who knows exactly how it's going to be. That's the Leeds United manager, who's been chatting ahead of today's match and insists that although it is lower league opposition, today's challenge will be a tough one.
First of all, you have to say it is a tough run of fixtures, and especially for a side who always has to go over the line and to invest everything in each every game. So we had 4 Premier League fixtures within 10 days, and right now also on the top of it, more or less the icing on the cake is right now also the FA Cup on Sunday. I'm a big believer in cup competition, so difficult to say why, but it's perhaps my German origin. So we have the DFB Pokal in Germany, and I love this traditional cups, and especially the FA Cup. For me, it's the most traditional cup in whole Western Europe, and always want to win if somehow possible. No, it's not realistic for us, perhaps to win the FA Cup, but why not? I always want to give it a try, and we have also shown during the season that even against the top sides in one game we always have a chance, and for that, of course, we want also then to go into the next round, still having in mind that although we are highly motivated anyhow, that of course during this season the big priority is of course also to earn survival and to stay in the Premier League. So we won't risk any player in this game, that's for sure. So, and also the players who had lots of load and where the medical department says, okay, listen, it could be tricky to play him again in the starting lineup. We won't do anything stupid. So you can be sure we will be there with a good, proper team and want to go through into the next round. And we'll try everything also to do this, but without risking any players. So I think it's also important for some players to get some minutes and also to rotate a bit more than we would do perhaps for a league game. But nevertheless, we want to go into the next round knowing difficult away game away at the championship side is always not an easy task.
Yeah, and Simon, from a managerial point of view, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? There were 8 changes today from that team that played at Newcastle, but important to bring in some fresh legs and to preserve the legs of those players who have been playing through this really busy stretch, which kind of, after today, is a bit of a full stop and a break until next weekend. Yeah,
look, it's getting that balance right, as you mentioned there, and I think Daniel's been really clever in what he's done. There's some players coming into that team that have played quite a bit of football, not in the last few weeks, but over the course of the season. Tanaka's been a big part of this football club for the last 18 months or so. You're looking at Jack Harrison, not played a great deal of minutes, but Premier League at Everton last year on loan. William Onto, been looking for impression, has had a bit of more of a roll off the bench. Joel Pirou's the same, the match is the same. So look, I think on paper we're a weakened team, but there's a lot of strong players in there, and also you've got the luxury of going back to sort of some of your more regular big hitters of Calvert-Lewin, Aronson, James Justin, who's broken into the team recently. So I think the balance is really good, and the strength in depth is showing that with a performance like they should do, it should be comfortably through to the next round. But yes, the FA Cup's never like that.
No, he's thrown in a butt. Did you hear that, everyone? Yeah. He threw in a butt just in case anyone was going to clip that up. It should be a very easy one to the next one. Plenty of strength on the bench, like you mentioned. It was interesting, Killer, Andy saying when he was talking to Bryn, actually it's also important for those players to get minutes, because if they are going to be used in league games, which they will do, that they're sharp. They're feeling like they've played minutes. They're not just coming in from the cold. That's important for those players.
It is. I think everyone says it, don't they? You can train every day, you can do all that, but the actual, to get your sharpness and get your fitness, you have to be playing. And this is what you got your opportunity now. But I like what Simon said there. It's a team that with changes, but you're not looking at it going, oh, it's weakened. And I think through the FA Cup you can make a lot of changes and people aren't fit and haven't played at all, but lads have been coming on there and have been playing. For me, that is a very strong team. You're just watching the 3 at the back there as well, lads. You can just say, yeah, that's the one.
The question of the formation, doesn't it? So it will be, we presume, a 3-4-3 looking at that with Ampadu on the left, Biol in the middle and Bourne now. In fact, let's hear from one of those 3 at the back who's been chatting to Bryn Law ahead of this game. Here are the thoughts of Jaka Biol.
Well, Jaka, the FA Cup is a competition I'm sure you know about. Are you looking forward to your involvement in it?
Yeah, for sure. We want to win today's game. We came here to do that, and yeah, I'm ready as well. So, yeah.
So you come to a lower division side. They'll be hoping to beat their higher level opposition. So the pressure's on today, isn't it?
It's always really hard game, this one. So we really have to be on it today from the start, and yeah. We have to look at it as like it's a normal Premier League game, I think, and just give our all, and then I'm sure we will have a result as well.
You're going to have fantastic backing inside the stadium. Does that help?
Yeah, for sure. So many of our fans today here, so for sure it's a big support for us after like a tough period that we had. We need them today, and yeah, it's nice to see that.
Yeah, there's always a bit of extra spice, isn't there? Leeds taking on Derby. Ethan Ampadu just ramping up the players, getting ready to go. We haven't actually spoken too much about Derby, but Simon, you've been doing quite a bit of coverage on the Championship this year as well. They've had a bit of an odd season. It's kind of like sometimes what you would describe as a typical mid-table Championship season. They've had some kind of good runs, then they lost to Wrexham, they've beaten Middlesbrough, who are right up there at the top. What do we expect from Derby, who have also made a lot of changes? Yeah, look, I think you've summed them up quite well there. Mid-table, 13th, I think, in the division of the Championship. Sort of, like you said, inconsistent. They win some games, have some big results, as you mentioned, Middlesbrough, and then lose to Leicester in a local derby recently, and other results. They're just trying to get that consistency to try and get them further up the division. So, look, there's the history between the two teams as well, going back to obviously the 70s, Brian Clough and Don Revie days, but it's another big opportunity for them to get to the fourth round, and we've got to be aware of that. It's a bit sort of, listen to Bryn's words there, against lower opposition. Well, we were only in the Championship last year. It's not as if we play in a League Two team where there's miles and miles of divisions apart. Of course, we're a far stronger squad and in a far better place than where they are at this moment in time, but we've certainly got to be aware of it, because they will be trying to get one over us and get to the fourth round, and that's the beauty of the FA Cup. Nobody really expects what could happen. Yeah, well, there won't be a bigger headline than Macclesfield against Crystal Palace, the holders, yesterday, but we certainly don't want to be in that group of teams that do go out to a team in the league below or further. Starting this game, they'll want to make sure that they go and impose themselves from the off. Yeah, I think, like you say, we're at the minute we're in a better place, Leeds United, and it's up to Leeds United how hard they want this day to be for me. If they go out and do it right from the start and get a touch of the ball and start dictating and maybe nick a goal, you can enjoy the game. If you start sloppily, just off it a little bit because, you think it's FA Cup game and they're a league below, that sort of attitude, it can be a long 90 minutes, let me tell you. They might make it a little bit more, long ball, a little bit more aggressive, a bit more, But we can deal with that, with us as well, with Leeds United. They've defended corners brilliant. They've scored from them. We've got a long throw now, so we can mix it up as well. But it's all about just doing it right today and starting right. Just a very quick one on John Eustace, Derby manager, who's had the better of us. With I'm thinking with Birmingham, with Blackburn as well. Is that a thing managerially? Daniel Farke mentioned it himself. Yeah, so sometimes you can have that sort of hold over certain clubs and managers. It's a strange thing, really, because I know I've been going to games thinking, I've never beat this manager, I've never beat this club, and it pans out that way. On the reverse of that, you go into some games going, all right, I'm undefeated, every time I come here I win, and you just have to stroll up and you win. Football's not that easy to deal with, but it does play a part at times, because sometimes a manager might have a unique way of dealing with how the opposition play. I think when John's got results so far against Daniel, it's been against a back four. It's different opposition today and a Premier League outfit. OK, well, John Eustace is not getting a result today. Is he, Killer? What's the score going to be? How's this game going to pan out? No, I got giddy earlier and said, an easy win. But I see a strong performance from Leeds United, and I see a win. 3-1 Leeds United, I am going. Really backed off the courage of your convictions there, didn't you? Oh, no, as it's got closer to kick-off, you've sort of gone, I'll win though. Simon, how's this one going to go, do you think? Well, seeing as I mentioned 0-0 the other night, and it ended up being like it was, I'm not certainly going to mention that. I think we'll keep a clean sheet. I think we'll win 2-0. OK, well, we are predicting the fourth round, but first 90 minutes and possibly more in the third round to negotiate. Let's head to your commentary team at Pride Park. It's going to be a good one today. Bryn Law and Andy Cousins bringing you all the action.
Thanks, team. Yes, we are here in the cold and wet at Pride Park, awaiting the arrival on the playing surface of the two teams. Leeds United, who are travelling to take on Derby County in the FA Cup third round. It's just over a year since we were in this same stadium for a Championship fixture. Tough battle, but ultimately Leeds came out on